Hello everyone, my name is Isel and today I'm doing something different. I wanted to try and combine two of my favorite things, which is crafting and listening to Reddit stories because a girl loves chisme. So I think let's just get started with the first story. This first story is from Am I Overreacting? And it's from 3 days ago. And it says, Am I overreacting for eating my own birthday cake in front of my nephew? So it was my birthday yesterday. I'm in my 20s, living at home right now with my parents to save money. My sister, Kyla, came over for dinner with her 4-year son, Leo. Quick context: Kyla is extremely strict about Leo's diet. Like, no processed sugar, no dyes, basically no fun food ever. I think it's a bit much, but I usually just stay out of it. I bought myself a really nice, expensive chocolate cake for my birthday. I didn't ask anyone else to pay for it. I just wanted a specific one from a local bakery. After dinner, I brought it out. Kyla immediately got tense. She asked why I couldn't have waited until they left to bring it out. I told her it's my birthday dinner and I wanted cake. My parents were having fruit, but I sat down and started eating a slice. Leo obviously saw it and started asking for some. Kyla told him no, it's yucky and bad for him. He started crying because, well, he's 4 and it's a giant chocolate cake. Kyla lost it. She called me a brat and said I was taunting a child and disrespecting her parenting by eating it in front of him. She ended up grabbing her stuff and leaving early while Leo was still sobbing. Now my mom is saying I shouldn't have done that and should have just waited an hour to eat my own cake to keep the peace. I feel like I'm going crazy. It's my house, well, my parents' house, but I live here. And my birthday, am I actually overreacting by thinking she's being insane? And then the first stop comment is, so she's not going to let him go to others' kids' birthday parties, or is she going to demand those kids wait until her special precious baby leaves to have their cake too? Space, your sister is an idiot. Other than that, there's another one that says this is going to be the kid who is the only one not allowed to eat cake when he's invited to a birthday party. And there's another comment that says your sister is setting the stage for an eating disorder. Not overreacting. All right, now let's go to the second story. This next story is coming from Two Hot Takes. And it's from 6 hours ago. And it says, Am I the asshole for not letting my aunt stay in my room when she visits? I, late 20s, female, live with my parents and brother in a 3-bedroom house. My dad's sister, my aunt, often visits. She's never married and lived with us when I was younger, which caused a lack of privacy and a lot of tension growing up. Now she lives in another city with my late uncle's wife, where they share a spacious room with 2 beds. When she comes to visit us, she expects to stay in my room. She snores loudly, often kicks me in her sleep, and there isn't room to put a mattress in my room. She always stays for at least a month when she visits, and it's at least 3 to 4 times a year. Oh my God. Previously, I let her stay in my bed because I was in university and my room was bigger. But now that I have a smaller one that only fits a queen-size bed and I work full-time, sharing my bed is physically exhausting and negatively affects my sleep. Her snores are unignorable. She gets mad if I wake her up in her sleep to tell her that she's snoring. Plus, it's so uncomfortable as she isn't a sister but an aunt. My mom has offered her a mattress in the TV lounge instead, but my family often expects me to give up my room. I also can't ask her how long she'll be staying, as that usually causes conflict. In case anyone is wondering, me moving out is not an option in the country/culture we live. Am I the asshole for not letting her sleep in my room/bed anymore? This is as someone who is Dominican, this is giving Latino culture, okay? And I'm not gonna say anything more than that, but let me just say that I've been there, okay? And it's normal. It's not normal, but it happens a lot. So the first I see here, first best comment is, oh my God, in the bed with you? This should be a situation where you're angry about being relegated to the living room sofa. That would be normal. What's happening now is making me cringe myself into next week as an auntie myself. Again, I don't know. My culture, it's really not, I don't know. I guess I've done it. Visited family. I'm not saying it's fine. I have never had to share like a bed with someone that I'm not close with though. That is really weird. Then there's another one that says, not the asshole. She is ruining your sleep, and sleep is important. She can sleep on a mattress on the TV room. Then another one says, sounds like the aunt has high expectations and is behaving in a very entitled manner. Start to make things uncomfortable for her, subtly, of course. Using your phone in bed when you don't have to get up early, late night to the loo, putting the light on, make a noise when getting ready for work. And actually, OP answers and says, I once rearranged my cupboard in the afternoon. She started yelling at me because she thought her glasses were under my pile of clothes. They were downstairs. ... That's crazy. Yeah, I would say make her uncomfortable. I mean, what else can you do? Okay, next story is, am I the asshole for calling my girlfriend gross? Hello, Reddit. Oh, by the way, this was from 3 years ago. Hello, Reddit. I am 23 male, and I have been with my girlfriend, Lila, 22 female, for 6 months. Kind of new. Everything has been really great so far, but 2 days ago, I stayed for a few days with Lila in her apartment, which she shares with 2 roommates, all women. Also, I have to note that Lila has a long hair, almost down to her butt, but not quite. We both had 3 days off, and her roommates went to go stay with their family for a week. I think they're sisters. Anyways, they gave us the okay for me to stay at their place for 3 days. Well, the second morning, Layla was called into work for just a couple of hours to help with something that her coworkers weren't trained for yet. Anyways, she went and then came back and took a shower. When she got out, I noticed that her hair was still dry and she didn't wash it. Oh my God. Forget something? I asked. She looked confused, so I told her that she didn't wash her hair. Layla just laughed and explained to me that she just washed her hair yesterday. Me, so you're not going to wash it today? Her, ... No, you aren't supposed to wash your hair every day. Me, says who? I wash my hair every day. Her, yeah, but you have very short hair. It's a known fact that washing your hair every day is not good for it. At this point, I was very skeptical as it sounds made up and just an excuse to be lazy. You would think if you have longer hair, then that's more of a reason to wash it more often. Oh my God. So I asked her how often she washes. He wrote wishes, but it's actually washes her hair. And she said twice a week. At which point I told her that she was gross. And she got very upset and locked herself in her room. She didn't come out for a long time, so I just left and went home. She hasn't answered my calls or spoken to me since. I asked my friends and they seen split. My sister and two of her friends told me that I was the asshole, but 2 of my other friends said that I'm in the right, and it sounds weird that she doesn't wash her hair daily. So, am I the asshole? That is crazy. Top comment says, you are the asshole and probably think women can't pee with a tampon in. That is crazy. There's another one that says, you are the asshole and just wrong. It isn't good for your hair to wash it every day, especially if she isn't doing physical activity or anything. A single quick Google search could have educated you on this. I am curious if he answered any of this, but it doesn't look like it. I will go into his account. Um, Another one says, yes, because every person has the exact same hair care needs. How did I never pick up on that before? Imagine being 23 and not realizing people take care of their hair differently. Madness. You are the asshole. Yeah, it's definitely giving 15-year-old kid. So definitely he was told he is the asshole. I'm going into his account and just checking. Did he, I don't know, did he find out that he's actually the asshole? Well, no. He never answered any of the comments, and that was his only post on his account. So, let's go to the next story. This one comes from Am I the Asshole? AITAH. Yeah. From one day ago. And it says, Am I the asshole for saying, we get it. You're so small and petite to my pick-me-like mom? That's crazy. There's an edit, but I'll read it after. It says, it's been kind of a running joke between me and my boyfriend for a good couple years now that we secretly make fun of my mom every time she acts like this. She's the typical I'm so small type of girl who just has to mention she's too short for something or her hands are too small, etc., etc. She only really started doing this after meeting my boyfriend IRL in real life for the first time. We're long distance, but he visits every couple of months. Before meeting him in person, she never acted this way, which is also why it's so funny to us. My mom and I are similar heights. I'm 5'3", and she's like 5'1". And my boyfriend is 6'2", big guy. So every time he's over, she needs him to do chores, because she can't do it because she's so small. Parenthesis. This OP saying, she actually says small like that. I wish I was joking. No way. My ad, she has no problem doing these tasks. When he's gone, it's gotten to the point where every time he's over, we make a little counter of just how often she does this. Every time she does, we give each other's an, oh my God, look, and giggle to ourselves. So now he hasn't been over in a while because he ended up getting a new job that needs him in consistently. But she still does it to me. Again, we're almost the same height. It's really annoying, and no matter how much we talk to her about it, she denies ever doing it in the first place. So now I started combating that by... combating? Combating, compartir, that by sarcastically saying, we get it, you're so small and petite, every time she acts that way. From her having to reach for something to having to twist the knob of the radiator, it's constant every single day. She recently got mad at me for saying it again after another, my hands are so tiny. And I said something like, if you're getting annoyed at me saying it, why do you talk about your size every single day? And she basically just ignored me and said something like, that's not what I'm talking about, and stormed off. I genuinely have no idea where she got this habit from. It only started after my boyfriend started coming over, and it's just gotten worse and worse over the years. Another thing is that she keeps mentioning me being fat, which I am, not denying, oh girl, and using it as a way for her to be like, I'm so small compared to you. Look at your big shoulders. Mind you, this woman is 50 years old and also fat. We're both overweight. She hasn't been skinny since before I was born. Okay. This comment I make has caused her to be mad at me quite a lot, but it seems like it's generally the only thing that will get her to stop doing it for a day. I've tried talking to her about it, but she's always just stops listening and walks away. Like, literally walks away. So am I the asshole for making my mom feel awkward for saying this stuff around me and my boyfriend? I'm starting to feel a little bad for making the situation even more awkward, but I feel like it's better than just letting her continue making both me and the boyfriend uncomfortable. So, we got the best comments here. And it says, start calling her over to pick up stuff low to the ground since she wants to call so much attention to being close to it. Oh, I'm so tall and the ground is so far. Girlfriend's mom, can you pick that up, please? Because you're so small. Okay, so there's an edit at the top that I didn't read, and it says, edit, some people told me I should mention it, but I'm actually a dude, not a girl, trans dude specifically. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if that gives more context, but I want to apologize because at some point I probably did call you a girl. But yeah, let's see what else we can find here. Somebody else said that their mom was like that when they lived at home. And it started when they hit puberty and just ramped up like crazy as soon as they reached their 20s. Another one said, this sounds like she likes your boyfriend. And then OP answered, that is something that we were worried about for a good couple of years ago. But it really doesn't seem that way. Maybe it's because I'm not very good at picking up on that kind of stuff. Parenthesis, OP says, I'm autistic, if that helps for a bit of context. Haha. My boyfriend finds it super awkward, so we just started kidding around about it. I don't know, man. She hasn't tried anything or suggested even finding him attractive. But somebody also answered to that it's not about your boyfriend, it's about competition with you. And I was just thinking that. I bet she was like this between her female friends. It's just so sad and pathetic when women behave like that. But to continue this with her own daughter is just ridiculous. I would just ask her to sit down and talk to her openly about this. If she tries to remove herself from the talk and walk away, it only proves this is a deep issue. This has to be addressed. If the talk won't help, maybe consider visiting your boyfriend rather than giving him a visit to you and your mom. Okay, so another one says, there's a generation of women that would manipulate men into doing work for them by claiming weakness or small size. I'm of that generation, says this comment, but was raised by someone who instilled self-sufficiency in us. My guess is your mom has no fucking shame. Okay, well, I think that has run its course. Let's get started with the next story. This one comes from Am I Overreacting Again? It's from 2 days ago, and it says, Am I overreacting? 27-year-old housemate tattles to his mom because I don't help with his chores. I've been renting a room in an informal share house in Perth for 4 months and pay rent directly to my 27-year-old housemate's mom. That's the entire agreement. But I buy my own food and I clean up after myself. He regularly complains that I don't share groceries or clean beyond my own mess. Has a problem if I get home after 22, which is 10 p.m. from work, and comments on how I spend my money. Instead of talking to me, he calls his mom and she messages me about it. He also has NDIS funded support workers for daily tasks, but doesn't use them and still expects me to help. I told him my only responsibility is rent and my own mess. Am I overreacting for sticking to that? I only had a really good experience with a roommate for like 3 months. But this seems ridiculous. Like, 27-year-old and you have to, like, I'm not sure how that would work. Maybe you're not ready to really have a roommate if this is how it's gonna work. Top comment says he may think that you're a Karen or not a flatmate. Ask his mother to explain this to him. That is very fair. So somebody else said he expected a maid, not overreacting. I'm gonna see if there's a little bit more background of this. If maybe there's something else that OP answered to. Okay, so there's a little bit of background. So NDIS is Australia's National Disability Insurance Scheme. It funds paid support workers for people with disabilities to help with day-to-day living tasks like cleaning, cooking, shopping, and general household stuff. So he's saying, my housemate is on the autism spectrum. I was expecting that. And has workers who come specifically to help with those kind of tasks. The issue isn't lack of support. It's that he often just naps while they're there. Instead of directing them to do anything, then expects me to pick up the slack around the house. I'm just a tenant paying rent, not a carer or a support worker. So I don't think those responsibilities fall on me. I wonder if this person knew about the diagnostico before they moved in. And let me see if they answer that. Yes, so somebody did ask if they knew about it, and he says, no, I was not aware of his diagnosis when I moved in. So there's that. I think that's, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you only have to clean up after yourself. I mean, yeah. Anyways, let's go to the next story. This one comes from Malicious Compliance, and it's from 9 months ago. And it says, I wore a suit to work and got my supervisor soft demoted. It's a male, and it says, I'm posting mainly because I'm not a passive-aggressive type, and I'm in disbelief that this actually worked. Ever since I started at my job a few months ago, my supervisor, we'll call him Josh, has been micromanaging me. When I'm the subject of criticism, which is often, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt and ask him to clarify. What are your expectations? What specifically should I have done differently? Josh's responses are always vague, often something to the effect of, just do better. I even had a meeting with Josh and HR to address this, but to no avail. Yesterday, Josh comes to my desk to tell me I need to dress better. Now, I work at a small company, and the vibe is initially casual. A not insignificant number of people come to work wearing jeans, hoodies, t-shirts, and or baseball caps. I've never worn a hat to work, and I make a point of wearing a button-up shirt with a collar every day. No way. This particular day, I was wearing a long-sleeve button-up flannel, chino pants, and Adidas Gazelles. Other days, I wear loafers and dress shirts that are tucked in. So I asked Josh to clarify, should I be wearing dress shoes, dress shirt, tucked in? What specifically do you want me to change? Josh tells me I just need to dress better and that I should talk to HR for clarification. So I go into HR and ask, what is the dress code? I get a standard answer. Pants, closed-toed shoes, no sleeveless shirts, etc. I ask, have I ever worn anything to work that poses a problem? HR says, no, you're fine. Because I'm mad and because my repeated efforts to resolve this kind of problem has gone unheeded, I decided to be petty. The next day, today, I showed up to work in a full-on suit. It's one I keep for events like weddings, so it's fitted and I look really sharp in it. It's also widely and conspicuously overdressed for the office I work in. I had several interactions with people coming to my desk to comment on my outfit and ask what was the occasion. When people asked, if only they asked, I told them that I had been told to dress better. This was always met with disbelief and incredulity. Two people even say they like the way I dress normally. When anyone asked me who the order came from, again, only if they asked, I told them it came from Josh. I was expecting to pull my little stunt for a week just to prove a point and then go back to wearing what I had been wearing before. Word got around the office fast, apparently, because the CEO, Josh's direct boss, came to my desk later in the day to tell me I would be reporting to him now and that he'd be having a talk with Josh about this and other issues. It's important to note that I was Josh's only underling. So he effectively went from being a supervisor to just a regular employee. I'm on a bit of a high now. I think I'm going to come into work tomorrow wearing a different one of my flannels. Edit. This blew up. Thank you all for the support. No, this isn't AI. I didn't use ChatGPT to edit for style or grammar. I generally use dashes, and I use them regularly in writing. Dash, I promise. Yeah, it has some dashes, and people keep saying that that's ChatGPT, but I use dashes, and I think it's fine. So top comment says, dress for the boss you want to have, not the one you currently have. Another one says, wear a tux tomorrow and demote the CEO. There's an answer to that one that says, as long as we're talking about dressing fancy to usurp positions, it's an awful timely time to bust out the Pope hat and robes. So there's another one that jokes, clearly being a supervisor didn't suit him. Hey, and that's all I gotta say about that. There's another one that says, perfect MC, glad the CEO was a reasonable person and seems to like you. Yeah, that is crazy. There's a little bit of a longer comment that says that this reminds me of a true story my husband told me. This would have been taken place in the 1950s. His childhood best friend father was a skilled machinist that can be mentally exacting, but sometimes dirty jobs. So the guts were casual clothes to the shop. He had done this work for decades and liked the job. One day, when he was in his 50s, he simply decided he was tired of always dressing in casual clothes. Life's too short for that, he decided, and he had several nice suits that he wore only to church, weddings, and funerals. Why not wear them all the time? So he began wearing suits to the shop every day. His coworkers were confused, but just shrugged and went about the work. It threw management into a tailspin, however. It made them uncomfortable in some undefinable way. Finally, at a loss as how to handle this sartorial crisis, they promoted him to management. Mr. E gone but not forgotten. I'm guessing that is the person they're talking about. Anyways, that's pretty cool. I guess you just gotta dress however you want, man. And yeah, somebody did say Josh sounds like a Belland. I don't know what that means. But he does sound like an asshole, so doesn't deserve or have the skills to be managing people, and that is true. Okay, that was actually the last story I had for today. Thank you so much for listening to me. This is something new for me, so I don't even know how I did, but hopefully it wasn't boring and you guys enjoyed it, and I will be making more because I do like them. So yeah, thank you, and hope you enjoyed the little letter that I make here. So bye-bye.